Good afternoon. Today I'll be doing my speech on the Tuskegee Airmen. I'll be informing you of the forming of the unit, the scrutiny they endured, as well as the accomplishments they achieved over time. They count our victories by the husbands we return to their wives, by the fathers we return to their children, to the last man, to the last minute. We fight, we fight, we fight. These were the famous words from Colonel A.J. Bullitt, commander of the 332nd Fighter Group. He believed in his men and fought hard for them to achieve the standard and to represent the Army Air Force in such a manner as they did. According to Charles Dryden, former Tuskegee Airman, in his book, A Train Memoirs of a Tuskegee Airman, he quoted how the Tuskegee Institute was formed and how the 99th Pursuit Squadron was the first initial squadron created in Tuskegee, Alabama. And over a period of time, the squadron grew, it evolved, and they expanded into the 101st Fighter Group, to the 301st Fighter Squadron, the 302nd Fighter Squadron, and then over time, by October of 1942, they combined all four squadrons to make up the 332nd Fighter Group. As they become a stronger group, Colonel A.J. Bullitt began to see improvements throughout the airmen, began to see them growing together, learning a lot. The mechanics were working well with the pilots. The pilots were voicing, what they were seeing with the aircraft to the maintainers, and they're becoming a strong group to the point that Colonel A.J. Bullitt wanted to see his men do greater things. They wanted to help out with the mission with the other Army Air Force, with the other white pilots. As they began to move forward in their advancement, Colonel A.J. Bullitt was still convinced, after speaking with many government officials, the president, he was convinced that his men could work with the other side of the Air Force. Instead of segregating his men as they had always been, he wanted to see desegregation and wanted to see the Red Tails or the Tuskegee Airmen fight alongside the others. According to military.com, Melissa T. Miller, a writer for About.com, quoted in one of her articles that the military didn't believe that black fighter pilots were adequate flyers, didn't think they were capable of flying as well as the other white pilots in the Army Air Force. Charles Dryden, again, one of the Tuskegee Airmen, who actually wrote about the life and times of being a Tuskegee Airman, he wrote in one of his books that the first time he didn't experience racism was as a POW in a Nazi camp. There he was approached by many others who were like himself. They were officers, they were enlisted men who were captured. And he said that was the first time he didn't experience racism. And they actually asked him personally, they were like, hey Charles, how is it that you can fight for a country who doesn't even give you equal rights or treat you unfairly? Charles Dryden's response was, because I believe there's change in this country, and I believe in this country. That was a strong statement coming from a man who had been discriminated upon practically his whole life and even serving for his country. It took countless meetings before government officials before change took place and these airmen were able to fight alongside the rest of the operational Air Force. Colonel Bullitt fought vigorously for these airmen to get a chance to represent their country. The Tuskegee Airmen flew over 15,000 sorties, 1,500 missions, and sunk over 200 enemy aircraft. They were awarded 1 Legion Merit, 1 Silver Star, countless distinguished unit citations, many Purple Hearts, as well as other distinguished accolades. Gar Smith, author of The Real Story of the Tuskegee Airmen, quoted General Colonel Powell in his book saying, "The Tuskegee Airmen served the country, not willing to serve them." This is a very true statement, and the Tuskegee Airmen overcame this. Through adversity and persistence, the Tuskegee Airmen displayed service before self, integrity, and excellence, which are all Air Force core values. The 332nd Fighter Group was an inspired group of men whose efforts and hard work were vital points in our nation's history. That's the end of my speech.